special meeting of the Del Rio City Council to order. It's Monday, July 30th. We got roll call, please.
Councilmember Sakara?
Here.
Councilmember Clark? Here. Councilmember Cicilio?
Here.
Councilmember Allen is absent. Mayor Edelin?
Here. Thank you very much. I asked Mr. Charlie Cordova if he would please lead us in pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Cordova.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment period. Anyone wishing to address the council this time on any item not on the agenda may do so now. You've got 3 minutes. Say your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Council. Jeff Meany. Just want to give you an update on a few things. I'll start with the bad and with the good. We have a considerable amount of shady people walking up behind the Del Rio fence line as of this week. Pretty frightening. There was one individual, 100% Catholic gang member, and frightened quite a few of the neighbors. Saturday, we had a call to both Del Rio and Seaside Police Department for drug interaction over Del Rio's fence and the Peachtree Trail behind Pacific Heights. I mentioned that last time I was here. There's approximately, we feel, 3 different locations on Plumas Avenue along that trail where they're doing drug activity, selling, etc. A lot is by the school area where there is no homes and behind the residents of Del Rio. As we all were aware of the news, there was a homicide 2 blocks from Plumas. And this is what we're talking about. This is the traffic that is cutting through Carlton, Plumas to Noche Buena, in and out of town. So this is what we're pleading with, if we could work together with Seaside. I know Seaside Sergeant Borges called last week to talk to the officers of Del Rio Oaks to try to agree to have like some type of, they'll patrol every hour on the hour, and then Del Rio's half hour on the hour, just to make sure these people know there's patrol here, so they can stop parking and doing their things through there. Then maybe alternate, maybe quarter after the hour and a quarter to the hour. I don't know what happened with that, I'm waiting to hear. We continue to find, along with all that, tremendous amount of alcohol bottles, etc., along the trail in front of the school. And I just was educated last week by Seaside Police Department. I didn't know what it was. It was a course can, 40-ounce can, but the bottom was cut out. They left the rest of the can there, and he said what they do is at the bottom of the aluminum base, they cook their drugs in it, and this was right behind your guys' fence line by the school and church area. And so I have an education now on what they're doing up there. There's nobody to see them because there's no homes there. So when I had a meeting, went to the meeting last week as a homicide with Seaside, I talked to the chief, and I said, she said, a great idea, and I think hopefully we can all get together and do this. Put a no parking sign from the church, where there's no homes, Del Rio Mormon Church, all the way up Plumas, and then from Noche Buena, from Plumas to Kimball, where there's no homes, it says no parking, 30 minutes after dark until 6 a.m., like they do at the beaches, etc. And then when the police come up, they have cause, why you parked here, etc., etc. Today, there was a vehicle that was parked on Waring. It walked from Waring to Plumas, up Plumas, to buy drugs. Police officer was right there seeing him. He was able to pull them over because they had no front license plates. But he said that he knows where they're going, knows what they're doing, but he didn't have anything more than that. So they parked a block away. As they're parking a block away, and they park on Plumas and walk down West Plumas to Pacific Heights to that house in Del Rio. Okay, that's the bad. Okay, the good, because we've all been working pretty diligently on many things over that area. Seaside has approved a traffic calming phase 1, and all that is going to be is the worst area, where it's the widest road between Waring and Noche Buena. They're going to put a painted island, so it will create like a slower traffic, and some of these people that are going through at 75 miles an hour maybe won't. They're going to put signs up that says traffic complaint area along with a speed limit sign and speed enforcer, something like that. So that's a positive. They're going to put 2 of those signs in this one area. In 6 months, they'll evaluate if there's still a problem. They're going to try to do phase 2, which is additional things, possibly, the most drastic, which they probably don't have the money for, is the speed tables. The other thing is I went to the Del Rio City Council, the school district meeting last week as well, and informed them about the graffiti. You anybody aware there's graffiti on the school in Plumas? There's 4 buildings directly on Plumas by Tweed, right on Plumas, directly behind, Del Rey Oaks right there, the closest to the street with portables. There was gang graffiti on the buildings. And, we all called, and in 3 days it got taken off, which was fantastic. But they agreed that they started trimming the brush there because it's very dense, so that people could find there's tons of alcohol bottles and other direct paraphernalia, right? Then they also told me, without even knowing anything about it, they have a lot of other problems in that school that we're not aware of, because they're going to be fencing and blocking most of them. So at the corner of Tweed, there's an opening in Plumas. They're putting a gate and a lock there. The grass area will be open, but there will be a chain link fence around the whole entire school, locking it down. Now, obviously, none of us are aware of what's going on, except for me, a little bit, because all this traffic and all this garbage we're picking up, trying to make them not come back. But the gang graffiti the week before the homicide, it's not a good feeling, especially behind your property in Del Rey Oaks. So they're going to do their thing. PG&E, met with them last week. We really got the final, should happen any day now. They are going to maintain that trail and make it so that the police departments, both police departments, can see the whole entire fence line. Get rid of any brush that's overgrown, anything that anybody can hide behind, because of those areas we talked about. The church, as we speak right now, on Plumas, next to the closest house on Plumas, they are taking away all this ivy. It's probably about 50 feet of ivy, so that you can see through to their parking lot, and no cars at night, because cars have been parking and we're finding all kinds of stuff there. So they're taking that out right now. It's fantastic. And I think I exceeded my 2 minutes.
Well, you're doing well.
That was it. And just to reiterate, we should work together with Seaside, the residents on Plumas Avenue, the school area in Del Rey Oaks, just to get rid of this element. I really feel, and I've talked to many people and they all feel the same thing, if we could control Carlton like we used to decades ago, these people would not go through here. Because it's just the root to the problem of going in the Seaside or leaving Seaside in a hurry. And I have any documentation you'd like to see in private that's more substantiated what I'm saying.
Mr. Randy, thank you for your getting involved here, and we'll be able to take action.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you.
Good job, Jeff.
Anyone else like to speak to the council? Seeing none, the public comment period closed. We now go to new business. Consider selection and approval of the request for qualification process, the response for the former Fort property development area, and direct staff to proceed with an exclusive negotiating rights agreement with the selected developer. Turn this over to the city manager, Mr. Dan Dawson, for comment.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I have a written statement from Councilmember Allen. Would like me to read it into the record. As you know, I'm working this afternoon and will not be able to attend the special council meeting at 5 p.m. If possible and permitted by California open meeting law, I'd like to enter the following statement for the record, or at least have it read at the meeting, which I'm about to do. It is disappointing that we received only one response to our request for qualifications. It would have been better to have competition as we move forward with developing the former Fort property. However, I reviewed the Brandenburg Statement of Qualifications, and based on the statements of A, their considerable experience in developing properties in California, especially in San Jose and Hollister, B, their assets, and C, the bank that is willing to extend them a $20 million line of credit, I find the Brandenburgs to be well qualified to work with our city to develop the former Fort Ord property that the city has taken possession of. I'm encouraged by their apparent willingness to work openly and responsibly with city staff to develop the property in ways that are responsible and beneficial to the citizens of Del Rey Oaks. I support staff actions to accept their statement of qualifications and with advice of legal counsel, continue to work with them toward an agreement on how best to proceed with developing the city's property. Sincerely, Dennis Allion, council member, City of Del Rey Oaks. So, having read that, we did receive one complete response to the request for qualifications, and that was from the Brandenburg Properties and council has had an opportunity to look at this since last week, as well as members of the public. It was in the packet from last week's meeting. That was originally a closed session item. We had decided, no, we don't want a closed session. We want it to be an open process. We want it to be an open meeting. We want the whole process to be an open session. So that's why the council elected to have a special meeting today, to have this in open session. So having said that, staff recommendation is to accept the RFQ submitted by Brandenburg Properties and to have the council direct staff, which would be me, to engage in exclusive negotiating rights agreement negotiations with Brandenburg Properties. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from council?
I just have one, how many of the references have you spoken with?
I've spoken with 3 references, and I personally visited 3 sites that they built. And they are fantastic. And the references are very good.
Good.
It's a good
I
question.
have one question.
Ask it.
Not so much about Brandenburg, but, since we only have up to one proposal here, was there any discussion from others why they didn't submit a proposal? Or was there just no communication in that regard at all?
I think that I did hear back from a couple of the others, and they felt that it was beyond their capability as a size, project of the scope and size was beyond their capability. For instance, we had one that wanted about 100 acres or so to do a senior living area. Another one that was interested in doing light commercial. So they are interested in doing smaller pieces of the larger overall project. And so my intent would be to introduce these folks to the Brandenburgs and say, here's some ideas, here's some people that focus exclusively on these kinds of developments, and leave it up to them whether or not they would want to work with them. And my understanding is that Brandenburg is very open to working with somebody on this project.
Other questions, comments by the council?
Yeah, I have a question. Brandenburg Properties, do they have an idea of what, after they've looked at our property, of what they kind of want to do, or any ideas from them as far as what they see out there for them?
Well, I have a meeting that I'm going to schedule with them. So once, assuming that this is accepted and that I'm given direction to move forward, at that point, as part of the exclusive negotiating rights agreement, they would provide a memorandum to the city explaining what their business terms would be. And we would also talk about what kind of development out there. They know that we're looking at open space. They know that we're looking at mixed uses out there, so that we'll have various portions of the project that are going to provide revenue to the city in the long run. And they're very willing to work with the city as a partner on this project. And they have a real track record dating back to the 50s, and they work well with people to get things done. And so that's kind of what we're looking at going forward.
One of the other major things with Brandenburg, they have their own money. Previous developer did not have their own internal funds. They were using another financial organization. When the money ran out, that's one of the major problems we had. So looking at what Brandenburgs have, it's considerable net worth. They can put it themselves and believe in Delray Oaks, and they're willing to put their money in the city to develop what we want done in the city. Yes, Chris?
Yeah, and personally, I just want to, make sure that I know that all of us as a council and the citizens of Delray Oaks, we want to see something really nice out there. We don't want to see, bad architecture. Everybody really wants to see this go through as a really class act project. So, at least I do. I think I can speak for everybody else. And I know that we're planning on having some open meetings to kind of discuss all this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to it's kind of worked out for the best that our old developer is pretty much gone, and so that somebody else can step in and we don't have to maybe do a golf course and maybe do all these things that were kind of forced upon us because of our certain situation back then. But I think it's really kind of nice now where somebody like these guys are willing to work with us and bring something really nice up there and not just something that they thought would fit in here or another golf course. I'm looking forward to this very much.
Yeah, I think it was Fora that, did it start with Fora that they, had that project, approved for the golf course and a hotel originally.
Well, the council actually approved it, it did meet for its consistency
That's what it was,
determination.
okay.
So I mean, the four approved after we said we wanted to do it. At the time that it started, the golf course and hotel seemed to be a very good project. The main reason, not because we're snobbish or anything at the time, there was a good return on investment, and also looking at five-star hotel and golf course, even during difficult economic times, cash flow, taxes, transient tax and so forth would still come into the city. So it looked like, at the time, it looked like a good thing for Delray Oaks to keep Delray Oaks, surviving in the future and actually prospering. But when the economy tanked, and hotels right now are not profitable, the golf courses, there's almost an overabundance of them right now. So that's why we're looking at citizen participation as to what we're going to do out there.
And we also have a really top-notch economic consultant and a couple of really top-notch attorneys, all the land use planning, and they'll work on our behalf to make sure we get something that really works for the city and the citizens of Delray Oaks.
And I would think that there are 60-plus years or so of experience in these cyclical economic times will help them out as to what makes sense for our area and what they've seen over these years as it flows.
Let's go to the public. Any comments by the public? Questions or comments? Please come up to the.
Well, I have a question for our city manager, which is that you said you went and looked at some of their developments and you thought they were great. And I wondered specifically what was great.
Well, one of the ones in particular I looked at was called Silver Creek Valley Country Club, and it's a residential community on the southeast end of San Jose.
Okay.
And it's a gated community, and, I looked at that and I went, wow, I hope we can scale this back a little bit, because it's almost too nice.
Gated communities are drag.
So that was
In
one.
my opinion, I'm Alice Green, by the way, I'm sorry I didn't say that. Gated communities are just a major drag. I think they're just horrible. The energy around them is,
So I looked at that as one end of the spectrum, and on the other end of the spectrum, the way that they got started in the development world was they built what they called 5-star mobile home parks. I'd never heard of a 5-star mobile home park, so I went and looked at one. And it's called Adobe Wells, and it's in San Jose. It's been there for quite a long time, and it looks like a neat, clean, well-kept city community street. Pretty impressive. And they own 15 of those.
okay. And environmentally, I mean, how do they plug into the whole, we're gonna be more environmentally conscious in the coming decades? Kind of, I'm wondering if they even, I didn't see anything about that when I read their sheet, so I was just, something I just.
Well, they
Wonder
put
what
it
they're
in
thinking about.
their response, basically, that they are looking to build a holistic, environmentally friendly development.
It's just, that's very general, so I was just curious if you had seen anything specific that you thought showed that they had some consciousness about this in some way in terms of, say, water use or various. There's lots
One
of.
thing that I found really positive about the negative economic situation is that it has weeded out a lot of developers that should not have been developers in the first place.
That's a good point. That is a great point.
And to have the Brandenburgs that are not only still standing, but they're thriving.
Right.
They
I hear what
do
you're saying.
quality work, and they're here to stay. I mean, they're part of this community. Lee Brandenburg lives right down the street.
Right.
And they're not gonna come in here and make a quick buck and get back on the bus and go back to where they came from.
Right.
This is their home. And that really impressed me about them.
Yeah, thanks. My name is Athena Amos, and I feel like everybody knows each other in here. So hi, everybody. I'm Renee Work. I live on Work Ave. And what I'm kind of concerned about is that this, whatever happens in this new area, is going to have a big impact on the future of our community. And in just talking with some of the neighbors, and a lot with families around here, they're all really interested in this. We could see that nobody's here able to show up and talk about this. So I hope, as this moves forward, that you do a bigger effort in reaching out and trying to get to the community so we can all talk about, what do we mean by fantastic as a community, or what's really nice as a community. And I think that'll be really important, because I think I might think differently than you, or Alice, and I think another question I had is when you looked at these other properties that Renberg had developed, and they were nice, but how did it impact the surrounding community? That's just what I'm curious about. So I'm really, I'm interested in staying here. You saw my baby is hopefully going to grow up here, so I'm really motivated to help make this a good project.
Well, as far as how they impacted, I don't know how to gauge how they impacted surrounding areas. The properties I looked at were kind of set off by themselves. In other words, there was nothing there. There was just a vacant land, kind of like we have out there. And they turned it into something really nice, and they built it in a location that took advantage of the Highway 101 transportation corridor, and also at the bottom of the hill from the Silver Creek Valley is a, what do you call it, kind of like a think tank research park. And there's a name for it. They had it right there. It's like the Brain Trust or something. It says they have all these high-tech startup companies down in this area. It was pretty impressive. It looked like a business incubator almost for kind of high-tech companies. And that's how they kind of tied it all in together. Charlie, you had?
Yeah, I just should extend on that, because I lived in San Jose and Campbell for years, and the development of the Silver Creek Village was just elevated that southeast Santa Clara properties. Because for years, when it used to be the Blossom Valley, then became Silicon Valley, you didn't want to be another San Jose because it was just unplanned growth. And a lot of that unplanned growth was South San Jose. And Silver Creek came in and really brought it up to a nice level of living in the older part. I mean, even that got elevated, nicer streets, and then like this industrial think tank park that it helped develop because of the streets that they, so it really was a win-win situation for everybody, just to support your family.
Cool.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions by the public? Okay, a couple things I had. Number one, environmental conscious. Everybody here, everybody in the city is going to have an opportunity to comment. First of all, we'll have these 2 town hall meetings at times that most people will be able to go to get more feedback as to what they went out there for, and so we're going to do that for sure. Okay. You're going to have to be all the way through the process. There'll be steps in the process. We'll have planning commission meetings. There'll be city council meetings before anything's approved. It has to be approved by the council or by the planning commission for design and so forth. You'll have a chance for input. And environmental consciousness, we can put that in there. I mean, it's just one of those things that does make sense.
It's just looking for the future.
It does look for the future.
Yeah.
We're short on water. Why not have catchment areas? I mean, it makes
For
sense.
instance.
It saves water, it saves money, and it's not just being environmentally conscious. There's a reason for it to help Del Rey Oaks and the residents and keep our costs down and so forth. The idea of a gated community, during our previous developer, during one of the phases, wanted to put in a gated community. The bottom line, the council said not only no, but no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to separate. We're not going to have an elite section of Del Rey Oaks and everybody else in there. No, it's going to be one big area. They wanted to fence off, the previous developer wanted to fence off certain areas where you couldn't go in there. No, we said you can't do that. It's all in the city. People here are going to be over there. They're going to be here. It's going to be one one seamless community. We're not playing those games of elitism. So those points are well taken. And that's basically it. Full disclosure, I had a chance to meet with the Brandenburgs about a year ago. We all have strong points and weak points. I've got more weak points than most, but I do have a strong point, and that is I can pick character and quality. These are honorable individuals we're dealing with. They're not fly-by-night. They shake your hand, they look you in the eye. They're looking for a partner. A lot of us have business experience here. We fully understand they have to make a profit. Profit's not a dirty word. We'll let them make a profit. We also have to make a good return on our investment to ensure not only the survivability of Delray Oaks, but all the things we want to do with this city to make it the pearl of the peninsula. We can do with the cash flow coming out of there. If this project is anywhere near the previous project, you're looking at maybe $3 to $5 million a year net. Our budget's only $2.5 million. Can you imagine what we can do with that money with this city? I mean, we can do I keep saying pave the streets with gold. I mean, we can theoretically do it with that type of money. We'd have the highest per capita income per resident of any city in Central California if we do this right. And it's a matter of the vision and the hard work of the council, planning commission, and you all out there who are taking the lead to do it. So again, I've looked at the numbers. I've had a chance to take a look at this. The Brandenburgs are honorable individuals. I think we make good partners for them. I think they'd be good partners for us. That's just my comment. Other members, council?
I just have a question. What was your name again? Adina? Welcome to Delray Oaks, first of all. Secondly, how did you find out about our council meeting in this project?
Well, during the garage sale yesterday, or Saturday, 2 days ago, I saw it on the poster board.
Oh, good. Good. Well, hopefully residents like yourself, because we do put a lot of information out. We do have a website so that you can reach out to, or anybody else that lives in the city for that fact, to be part of this process. It's great to see you here in the city council chambers and here to find out about what's going on in your city. That's great. But maybe people like you can help let people know out there to come to these meetings and for you to help them along. You know, there's only so much that we can do, so that would be great. But I think as far as Jerry said too, Merit, is that their openness and willingness to see a project for our city and not so much be stern in what they see, but actually opening it up to residents and everybody to bring something really cool here. So that's what the exciting part is for us sitting up here, I would say. So nice meeting you and welcome to
Oh,
Delray.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad I came, because I
I'm
feel a
glad
lot
you
better
came
about
too.
the project.
Other comments?
I just wondered, did you help with the planting of the?
No.
No.
I wanted to, that.
Oh, okay.
Any other comments from the council? If not, do I have a motion?
We'll make the motion that we approve the Brandenburg developer. And the exclusive direct staff negotiate, the exclusive negotiating rights agreement.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We now have a new developer. This could be the beginning of a very, very bright day for Delray Oaks.
I am so excited.
Okay, our next meeting date will be Tuesday, August 28th of this year at 6 o'clock. Thank you all very much for carrying enough to show up and providing your input. You know, your friends and neighbors, and this package.
Yeah.
Thanks again for being here.